Recordings in progress. Okay, so what we've been doing for the last almost 20 weeks now, pretty much every Wednesday, minus a couple Wednesdays I was out, is we've been going through the Mike Ferry sales system, each point by point, and talking a little bit about it and what we can learn from it. So here we are all the way up to point 19, which is money management and profitability, which I think is a pretty important topic. Okay. Who here got into real estate because they want to make a profit? Okay. If you don't have your picture on the screen, you could put a 1 in the chat box. Just want to make sure that I'm talking to the right people on this meeting. Okay. There we go. All right. There we go. So we got some people. All right. Don't be shy. It's okay. Never understood why real estate agents are shy. You do understand you're in the business of talking to strangers, right? I don't want to raise my hand. I don't want to put anything in the chat box. I'm shy. This might not be the business for you. All right, good stuff. So we're on point 19, money management, profitability. So I have a list of thoughts here about money management and profitability. Some of these you've heard before. Some of these you probably might not care about, but some of these might be really good points for you that might make a difference going forward. They're not written in any particular order of importance. They're just written. You decide what's best for you. Jump into this. All right. Mike Ferry's definition of money management and profitability. Anytime he talks about money management, profitability starts with this one basic thought. Money earned is the result of the work that we do. Money earned is the result of the work that we do, the effort we put in, and the service we offer other people. Excuse me. Man. Money earned is the result of the work that we do, the effort we put in, and the service we offer other people. If you are without the money that you want, it is because you either A, do not give other people the service they want. If you are without the money that you want, it is because you either A, do not give other people the service they want, B, are not able to set goals effectively and achieve them, or C, could not control your spending. If you are without the money, that you want, is because you either A, do not give other people the service they want, B, are not able to set goals effectively and achieve them, or C, could not control your spending. And then keep in mind here when we're talking about profit, profit is what is left after you subtract your expenses from your income. Don't forget to put your taxes into this scenario. We talked about this a little bit on Monday about thinking big and the cost of working with an unmotivated client. And you have to start expanding your mind as you grow your real estate career. You have to get out of the mindset of being a real estate agent and get into the mindset of being a very good business person. Okay. Like when you, let me ask you this. What is Warren Buffett's title? Okay. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what his title is. Nobody knows, like, well, he's the head of this, and he's Berkshire. Obviously, Berkshire Hathaway is the company, but nobody knows what his title is. Nobody knows what his niche is in terms of how he, what he does. We just know he has a lot of money. So you think of him as a business person. Warren Buffett is a business person. He's not just a real estate agent. He's not a real estate agent, but he's not, a real estate agent. Oh, he's the head of manufacturing, or he does this. No, he's not. He's just a business person that has businesses that make a lot of money and investments that make a lot of money. You have to grow when you're talking about profit, out of being just a real estate agent into being a business person. That's why Mike Ferry says all the time, there's real estate agents and then there's business people. For those of you that remember when Bernie Gallerini was on here, and if you don't remember that or you didn't get a chance to watch it, make sure you go back to, yes, Lynn says chairman and CEO. Right, he's the chairman and CEO, but we don't know his niche product. You know, it's not like a real estate agent. Oh, you know, Mike Meadler's the chairman and CEO of Century 21, and he's a real estate guy. Warren Buffett, we just don't know. We just know he's rich. Okay, he's a business guy. But if you go back to listen to Bernie Gallerini, and if you haven't had a chance to do that, go to events.c21masters.com and you'll see all these interviews that Neil did. And one of the things that Bernie Gallerini said is that he gets annoyed when people call him a real estate agent, because the general thought of a real estate agent is lazy, unproductive people. He'd rather be called an entrepreneur, a telemarketer, a businessman who just happens to have a real estate license. You know, or as he said, you know, I have a driver's license. I don't tell people that I'm a professional driver. You know, so you have to start thinking of that. And part of that is thinking from profit is that you have to subtract your expenses from your income, and don't forget to put your taxes into this scenario. So we talk about this in regards to, well, I made $10,000 on this deal. Okay, great. But what was your expenses? How much did you pay for marketing? How much did you pay for postcards? How much are you paying for this? How much are you paying for that? You have to factor all these things in here when you're talking about profitability. I've shared this story with you before. There's a guy in our general marketplace. I won't share his name because I don't have permission to share his name. But on paper, he's about a $500,000 a year agent. Amazing, right? $500,000 a year. I didn't know this, but I had a chance to talk to him one time, and we were talking about business and things like that. And he was asking me about, what are we doing to help the agents make more money and things like that. And I was kind of joking with him. I was like, oh, I made a joke. Actually, I said, what are you asking me for? I should be asking you. You're making 500 grand a year. It's pretty good. It turns out he was making $500,000 a year. True story. His expenses were about $400,000 a year. Now, that means he's still making 100 grand, still making good money, but he was spending $400,000 a year on leads, on online marketing, on all these things to try to generate transactions. And it worked, but his profit was not nearly what you saw on paper. Okay. So you have to start looking. So you might be thinking, well, I'm making $500,000 a year, probably lives in a really nice house, drives a really nice car, a little bit different. So you have to start looking at that. Okay. Wrote down here in terms of profitability, life is about making decisions quickly. Any delay in making decisions costs you time and money. So you have to learn to make decisions quicker. Now, one of the things that I would suggest on money management profitability, making decisions quicker, is learning to figure out which leads are actually going to do a deal quicker. Have you ever had a lead that you followed up with for 6 months or longer and they still never did a deal? That ever happened with anybody? Just me and Donna and
Yes.
me, Donna, Sam, and 29 liars. Okay. So you have to learn faster how to find out if these people are going to actually close a deal or not, because it's costing you time and money with the follow-up. Now, we're not going to go over that, but we can do that in another class on how do you find out faster? How do you dig for more information? How do you push faster? I did this on a coaching call yesterday with one of our agents. I got all these leads, but they're not, well, let's talk about this, right? We role played it. So we'll talk about that. But you have to learn to get these things moving faster. You have to learn to get your systems in order faster. Okay. How many times have you taken 2 months to figure out which CRM you want to use? I don't know. We got Business Builder, Top Producer, well, there's Lion's Desk, there's Follow Up Boss. I don't know. I'm thinking about this one. I'm thinking about that one. And then you ask me, and then you get mad at me because I'll just go, just pick one. And then you just pick one, use it. You're not going to use any of the damn tools anyways. Okay. So you have to learn to do those things faster because it's costing you time. It's costing you money by not making decisions quicker. Okay. I wrote down here in terms of money management and profitability, visit your money every month. Visit your money every month. What I mean by visit your money every month is actually go into your accounts and do a deep dive into what's coming in and what's going out. Has anyone ever thought that they should have more money in their bank account than what was actually in there?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I went through that years ago. I never visited my money, right? And money was coming in and I've always been a fan of spending it. Okay. Still a big fan of spending it. So money was coming in and money was being spent. And I remember one day looking at my account. I don't know why I looked at the account that particular day. I just never really ever looked at my account. Boy, I was a prime candidate for someone to fraud, right? I would have never known. Okay. But I remember looking at my account one day and going, that's it? That can't be right. There's fraud. So somebody hacked my account and stole my money. It's got to be more money in there than that. There's money coming. I'm making money. There's money coming in. And then so I did a deep dive into my account and started to notice all these little expenses, not marketing expenses, not like I was spending money for leads and things like that, but I was spending money on going to lunch every day. I was spending money. I'm a smoothie guy. Okay. Smoothies are my thing. So what I used to do every day is I would go to Jamba Juice in the mornings and get a smoothie. Now, for those of you that have never been to Jamba Juice, they're wonderful smoothies, but they're like $9 or $10 a pop. You know, so even back then, they might have been $6, $7 a pop. But I'm doing it every day. Okay. So you have, $7, $8 smoothies adding up every day. And then I'm going to lunch because we had a group of people that we'd go to lunch every day. Well, for those of you that haven't been in Southern California very long, lunches can be a little expensive. Okay. You don't get to go to lunch in LA for, $8. This is not the way it works. So I'm spending $15, $20 a day on lunch. So I'm looking at this, I'm going, oh my God, that's adding up. That's adding up. And then, after work, it's, a couple days a week, maybe we go have an appetizer, have a drink, have something like that. All these things, I'm just looking, little charges here and there, go get a snack, go do that. All these charges are adding up and it adds up to a few $1,000s a month. And I'm like, well, this is where my money's at. But if you're not visiting the money, you don't know these little expenses. You just know you're paying off that credit card every month, right? Yeah, well, the credit card bill came, it was $900. I paid it off. Well, what was in that $900? I don't know. Visit your money every month. See always look at what expenses you can cut and what you can modify. Now, I don't want you to live a boring life. Okay. So give you an example. I decided, hey, Robert, I have an idea. Instead of going to Jamba Juice every morning, why don't you just invest in a blender like the rest of society does? And you can just make the smoothies at home. Okay, great. Cut out my Jamba Juice costs. Instead of going to lunch every day, why don't you just make lunch and bring it to the office? Started doing that, cut that cost out. Now, so those are little costs here and there. I still didn't cut I want to go out with my friends and go out to dinners and have drinks and things. I didn't cut that out because I wanted to live my life, but there was things I could cut out. Instead of, hey, I'm in craving a snack. Let me go to the store real quick and pay $3 for a protein bar. I can just get a pack of protein bars for like $5 and have one every day. You know what I mean? So you can figure out those little expenses that you can cut out. Okay. Don't have to live your life boring, but always look at that. Your money, your bank account should, let me back up. Who here has kids or has had kids? Okay. Did you ever do that thing with the kids where you stand them up against the wall and you do a pencil with their height? And then as they grow, you do the pencil to see how they're growing. Yeah, you all know what I'm talking about here with the kids. You see that stuff? You should have that same game with your bank account. I remember just this big. And look at you now. Now you're here. And now you're here. Oh, this is so exciting. You're almost a full-grown adult. Okay. Your bank account should be growing just like your children do. So if your bank account is not growing, you have to look at then, am I either A, not bringing in the money, or B, am I spending too much of it? And if you're spending too much of it, then you have to decide, do I want to cut back spending or do I just simply need to make more money? Now, I know that sounds really simple, but it's a real decision you have to make. Some of you are not going to cut back the spending. Some of you ladies are not going to give up the Jimmy Choo shoes. Okay. You're not going to stop going to Louis Vuitton. That's fine. I think you should do whatever you want. Some of you men are not going to give up your Armani suits or your Rolex watches. That's fine. But then you need to switch the mentality of, if I want to keep living this life, I need to get on the phone or on the doors because I need to make enough money to live this life. See, for me, it's not about the watches. I have an Apple Watch and I didn't even buy that one, right? It's not that. I wear nice suits. For me, it's the vacations. There's no way that I'm willing to just stay put in my little area. No way. I want to go to Italy and I want to fly nice. And I want to stay in all the nice places. And I want to go to the best wineries and I want to eat at the best places. And that's going to be a $30,000 trip. Well, I better make some money. Okay. So you have to decide that. Is it cut your expenses? Is it make more money? Is it a mixture of both? You have to figure that out. Talk with your family, because make sure they're on the same page. Make sure they're on the same page. All right, wrote down here, consider using multiple checking savings accounts to manage your money. So for example, have a business account, have a personal account, have a savings account or an investment account. I've always been a big fan of having a goal account, meaning that you have some savings account where you put money in there for a rainy day, have some reserves, things like that. But have an account in there that's a separate savings account. That's what is that something you want to buy or somewhere you want to go? Well, I want to go to Italy. Okay. For how much is that going to cost? It's going to cost me 30 grand. Okay. Set up a separate savings account called vacation fund and put money in that. That way, when you do the separate stuff, one, nothing gets mixed in with each other. And two, you're only taking money that you have. So if I have money in my vacation fund and then I take money from that fund, that's okay because I already have money in all the other accounts. I'm not taking from the personal accounts, from the mortgage and things like that. This is set aside. It's easier to manage things that way. Okay. I would also recommend getting in touch with your CPA, accountant, bookkeeper, maybe on a quarterly basis, just to review your numbers, just to make sure that you're on track with your taxes. How much are you going to have to pay in taxes? Now, this is really important. The goal as an independent contractor is to pay a lot in taxes. That's the goal. Why is that the goal? Why is the goal to pay a lot in taxes as an independent contractor? Anybody want to guess?
That means you made a lot of money.
There it is. Because to pay a lot of taxes, you have to make a lot of money. But you still should meet with your accountant or CPA every quarter just to say, hey, in this quarter, how much would I have to pay? Well, you'd have to pay 15 grand based on this quarter, and then put that 15 grand away. Otherwise, if you do it once a month and you make a lot of money, you're going to get hit with $100,000 tax at the end of the year, which can be quite startling. You owe taxes, Robert. No problem. How much? 100 grand. Excuse me? How many years of taxes did you do? Just one. I'm glad I have to pay that much, but wish I'd have planned ahead of time. So meet with your accountant, financial planners quarterly. Figure out how much do you need to set aside for taxes each quarter so it's easier to manage. What about your investments? What about your write-offs? All these other different things. It's easier to do that stuff quarterly, especially when you start making more money. Okay. If you don't make any money, don't worry about meeting with them. Okay. But as you start making more money, just good habits to get into. Okay. I wrote down here next, remember, you are the creator of your income. Therefore, you should pay yourself as well. You are the creator of your income. Therefore, you should pay yourself as well. So when I mean pay yourself as well, is you have to essentially reward yourself for making money. Because if all you're doing is making money and every month it just goes towards the mortgage payment, goes towards the house payment, goes towards the taxes, if that's all it is, that sucks. It's not going to motivate you to go make more money. So you have to pay yourself. Give yourself a salary. When you give yourself a salary, you also psychologically could motivate yourself to make extra money because you have to pay the salary. Well, I'm giving myself a salary of $5,000 a month. Okay, great. Well, you better go make money to pay yourself. Right? So pay yourself every month. Right? I wrote down here next, create a simple budget and live within it. Keep a journal for 30 days of everything you spend. Simple budget. Most budgets fail because they get too complicated. I got an app and this app does this. And if I run this, I calculate this. Basic stuff. This is what I did. Back when I told you I was visiting my money and I realized I was spending a lot of money. You know those big calendars that title companies give you, like the big desk calendars where each day is like this big. I would get one of those, right? And in each box of each day, I would write everything that I spent. Lunch, $10.58. Gas, $71.54. I would write each expense in each day. And then at the end of the month, I could see each day what was spent on every single day. And it was all right there in front of me. It was easy for me to track to see what was I spending. And then I could easily kind of create a budget around that. Okay, great. Like here's my food budget. Here's my grocery budget. Right? Here's my fun budget. Figured out at the time that I did this, I was in my early 20s. So, I wanted to go out and have with friends and have drinks and stuff like that. I learned that if I had drinks at home, I didn't spend as many drinks at the bar. Saved me quite a lot of cash. Little things. You figure stuff out. Okay. But because it's all right there in front of you, it's simple. It's easy to understand, right? And then keep a journal, 30 days of everything that you spend. You might be surprised. Okay. There you go. There you go. All right. I wrote next. This is just money management type of things that I had learned, Mike's talked about before. I want you to write down the snowball effect. Some of you probably have heard of this before. Snowball effect. Snowball effect is when you're paying off debt, you may consider, this is not an end all be all, it's just a thought. Well, let me back up. When you have a large amount of debt, for those of you that have ever had it, okay, don't be embarrassed because a lot of us have, even if it's student loans. The number can seem pretty overwhelming. Okay, gosh, my total debt's 80 grand, my total debt's 100 grand, my total debt's 50 grand, 40 grand, whatever the number is, the total number can seem overwhelming. What the snowball effect is take the smallest account and pay that off first. Just make your basic payments on all the other accounts, and then your smallest account, put a bunch of money towards it, as much as you can afford every month extra to pay that off fast. So if you have 5 accounts, one's for 25,000, 15,000, 10,000, 5,000, and 1,000. The other 4 accounts, make your base payments on that $1,000 account, make the base payment plus what else can you throw at it? Well, I can throw an extra 200 bucks at it. Throw the extra $200 at it. So then what happens is that in 5 months, that account's paid off. It's gone. So it's like, okay, that's one account down. So now what's the next smallest one? Well, the next smallest one is 5,000. Okay. The other 3 accounts, make the base payment, take whatever you can. Well, I can make, now that I don't have that other payment, I can put $500 a month on this. Okay, great. $500, $500, $500, $500. And then a year later, that account's paid off, done. Now the other ones are still slowly going down because you're still making payments on it, but now that account, so now I have this snowball effect. I've got one account paid off. I've got another account paid off. Now I've got some momentum. What's the next biggest account? Because what happens sometimes is when you try to do the opposite and you take the $40,000 account and you're trying to pay that off, it seems like it doesn't go down. It's like, oh my gosh, this account, I still owe $35,000 on it, and it can get frustrating and overwhelming. So you can consider doing the opposite, get the smaller accounts paid off and create that kind of snowball effect, right? Because here's what's really important. This is really important for you to understand. The stress that comes from overwhelming debt will most likely hinder your performance to make the necessary money to pay off the debt. The stress of overwhelming debt will more than likely hinder your performance from making the money necessary to pay off the debt because it's just weighing on you. And your mindset is weak, your energy's low because you just have this weighing on you, and you feel like you're just defeated sometimes. Whereas if you create this effect of paying things off little by little, smallest account, you have more energy, you see light at the end of the tunnel, you kind of see a plan, all of a sudden you're making more money to then pay this stuff off. Okay, there's just an idea. Just an idea in terms of money management. All right. I wrote down here next, when you're dealing with investments, get out of bad investments. Seems pretty simple, doesn't it? When you're dealing with investments, get out of bad investments. I see so many real estate people like, oh, I made some money. I'm going to throw it at this. Okay, great. You got some money to spend, throw it. But watch it. Well, what's your money doing? Well, this investment is tanking. Get out. I want to see what happens. Okay. This is what we call being smart business people. Or you can just do what Neil talks about and throw your money at real estate. There you go. There you go. All right. All right. Very good. Now I wrote down here next, your biggest business expense is your ego. Your biggest business expense is your ego. Ego and profitability are not friends. If you want a big ego and big profits, your money is heading in opposite directions. Your biggest expense is your ego. In a variety of forms, ego thinking that, well, I don't need help. I don't need support. I got this. Okay, great. You might be able to make a few bucks, but gosh, can you imagine how much money you're losing because your ego got in the way and you weren't open to coaching, training, masterminding, things like that? Or your ego gets in the way of, well, I don't want to take the jump because I'm afraid I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm afraid I'm going to look bad. So I don't want to take that plunge. Okay. Remember that old line, fortune favors the bold, right? Your ego gets in your way. I don't want to, oh my gosh, I don't want to do it. What if I embarrass myself? It's costing you a fortune. It's your biggest business expense. And in real estate, it's you have to take the plunge. You have to go talk to people that are, it's an uncomfortable situation. I don't want to talk to someone who just lost their job. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable, but guess what? They need to sell their house. So you, by letting your ego say, well, gosh, I'm uncomfortable doing that. I don't want to do that. I'll feel embarrassed. Great. Well, it just cost you 15 grand because you don't want to do it. Right? Your ego is not your amigo. And I wrote down here next, don't be afraid of thinking bigger and upgrading your life, even if you don't think the money is there yet. Don't be afraid of thinking bigger and upgrading your life, even if you think the money isn't there yet. Here's what I mean. You want to buy a new car, not because you think the new car is going to get you deals. Okay. If you're buying a new car because you think, well, gosh, if I want to work in this area, I better buy this car. That's dumb. Okay. That's sorry. It's just the truth. Now you need a car that works. But even Christoph Chu, who is $1 million real estate agent in Beverly Hills, said it when Neil interviewed him, saying, you need a car that works. You don't need a Bentley. Okay. Unless you want a Bentley. So, but what I'm saying is that if you want a new car, you know what, Robert, I want I want an Acura MDX. I want that SUV. It's nice. It's big. It's luxury. It's great. It's like 75, 80 grand. That's what I want. I want the fully loaded one. That's what I want. Okay, cool. And sometimes we think, well, yeah, but if I go get it, then I have the payment. I don't know about the payment. Don't be afraid to take the plunge and go get it. Because what you'll find a lot of times is just by having that, and because you want it and you want to keep making the payments without you even realizing you'll make the money to make the payment. You won't even realize it. That's like, oh, I'm just making the payments every month. It's weird. It might not make sense. Some of you are probably thinking he's wacko. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. And you're right in some categories. Okay. But I'm telling you, sometimes you get the bigger item, but because you really want it, you don't even realize it, but you're just making the money to do it. You want the bigger house. God, I want the bigger house, but man, the taxes, the payment's going to be $5 grand a month. I've never had a $5,000 payment. Go get it. Don't be afraid to go get it, because it's just the way it works. You'll figure out the payment. That was one of the biggest things, money management, profitability, that really changed my mindset. I just started buying things that I wanted, but you have to want it. Don't just buy luxury items or buy things just to have them, because then the motivation will be there. But I wanted the nice car. I wanted the bigger house. I wanted the condo in downtown LA with the floor to ceiling windows that had the view. I wanted that. And the thought of like, oh my gosh, yeah, but that condo is so pricey and the HOA is this. But I was like, oh, that's what I want. So I went and got it, and I didn't even realize it, but the payment was just coming out of my account every month. there was money going in, there was payments going out, and I never was concerned about it, even though I was concerned about it at the time doing it. I wanted the new car. Okay, I got the new car. I really want a new car, something that works, something that's nice. And the payments just keep coming out. So don't be afraid to think bigger, to upgrade the things that you really want, even if you're not sure if the money's going to be there yet. You have to be responsible, but you have to dream big. You have to go big. You have to go after it. The money will get there if you need it and you really want it. Because the fear, if you don't do that, is that you're constantly reserving yourself to say, oh, I really want it, but gosh, you know, I've never had a $5,000 payment before. We really shouldn't do that. And then you're still here. You're still stuck here instead of being here and all the opportunities are available. Don't be afraid to go big. Or as Mike Ferry would say, upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. Questions on anything I went over today? Okay, good. Was there anything that was helpful today?
Yeah, Robert, I have a question.
Yes.
With the one you say, then we have to pay ourselves first. Did that include, that's gonna be in the personal account, or is a different thing, the one that you mentioned there?
Personal account. Something for you.
Okay.
Unless you have a separate account specific for something that you want. Meaning that if it's like, if you set up a separate account for my pay myself account, you know, then you could do that. Because the personal account, what some people get with the personal account is they say, well, my personal account is for my personal expenses. So my business account is for business expenses, personal accounts for personal expenses. So you might set up another account for, this is my reward account. I made some money. I'm putting a few $100 in there, $1,000, whatever it is. This is my money that I get to spend on whatever I want. I get to go to Cold Stone every day for a week.
Thank you.
See, I'm a fat kid, so, you know, I automatically go to ice cream.
Thank you.
So it just depends. Some people that might be too many accounts, so they'll just put it all in their personal account and that's part of it, but you just do what's best for you.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Any other questions? All right, very good. Well, look, hopefully there was something.
I'm sorry. I was trying to get unmuted there. When you were speaking about the, well, paying yourself, would you say there's a kind of a rule of thumb of what percentage you should pay yourself versus putting away for taxes? Versus...
So the general rule of thumb that Mike Ferry always said for everyone is you put 30% of your money goes to your business account. 30% goes to your personal account. 25% goes to your tax account. 10% goes to a savings account or an investment account or whatever the case would be. And that last 5% goes to either a pay yourself or another savings account that's like a vacation fund or something like that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Say it one more time. I was
30% of your money goes to your business account.
Okay.
30% goes to your personal account.
Okay.
25% goes to your tax account.
Okay.
10% goes to a savings or investment account.
Okay.
And then 5% goes to paying yourself or some sort of reward account, a vacation fund, something along those lines.
Okay. All right.
Now that's just a blueprint. You figure out what's
Right.
best for you, because for some people, they don't need that much in their business account because they don't have a lot of business expenses, or they might not need a lot in their personal account because of that, or whatever the case may be. The
Okay.
one thing that you should definitely do is make sure that you always put at least 25% for taxes,
Okay. Got it.
because you can't go to jail for missing payments on your personal account, but you can go to jail for not paying your taxes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Welcome. Good question. Good question. Any other questions? What we went over today?
You know, Robert, I was going to mention that it's so easy to live below your means. It's super easy. My husband and I have been doing it for quite some time, and we're on track for retirement at 40. So it's very, very doable.
Oh yeah, that's great, Abigail. Good for you. Congratulations. Yeah, it's doable if you have a plan and you follow it, and yeah, you live below your means. But you can still, Abigail, I know you travel and you do things and you have fun and stuff like that. So it's all possible to do these things without going crazy. It's amazing.
Very possible.
For those of you that haven't really gone through this, I'm telling you, the expenses that you're paying on some of these things are not worth it, where you can put that money either towards an investment or put it towards something that's really, really meaningful. I'm not a cheap guy by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't spend a lot of day-to-day money. Just don't. I don't. I mean, I make my lunch I go to the grocery store and make my lunch every day. We go to Costco because you can buy in bulk. I make my lunch every day. I still make a smoothie every single morning. We cook dinners and things like that. I'm not a big day-to-day spender.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. No Jamba Juice?
No Jamba Juice, man. I make my smoothies at home.
Uh-uh.
Every so often, I'll go there, be like, oh, let's just go, right? But I'm not a big day-to-day spender, and it doesn't bother me in any way. So when I spend, we're doing something. We're going to a nice dinner. We're going to Bestia and we're going to spend $250. We're going to 71 Above and we're going to spend wherever. We're going to Nobu and we're going to spend $300. So it's like those kind of expenses can get pretty big, or it's the vacations, the weekend getaways. Some of us are losing all of our money on the day-to-day expenses. And that's what's killing you. And as Abigail would tell you, you can live below your means and just spend the money on the big items, what you want to go on, and then make good investments and things along those lines, whatever your investments may be. Obviously, we talk a lot about real estate, but you can do stocks, bonds, whatever you're good at. Most of my money actually came from that. And so, you just do the right things. But yes, it's entirely doable to live in Southern California and not have to spend, $200 a day, or Washington or New York or anywhere else anyone else that lives that can be really expensive. Good stuff. All right. Very good. Anything else? Comments, questions, thoughts, anything like that? Very good. If you need help with any of this stuff, I'm more than happy to, sit down and help out with that. Although I would predominantly recommend you, again, always talk to your accountant, financial planner, financial advisor, and more importantly, the people that are also involved with your money, spouses, kids, things like that. Because if you want to save and they want to spend, it's not going to work. Sorry. All right, everybody. That's all.